Kia ora. My name is Matt Rashkovich from Auckland University of Technology, New Zealand. And together with Raquel, Teresa, Fiona, and Noemi, we would like to encourage submissions to a special issue of Critical Perspectives on International Business on the topic of diversity, equity, and inclusion. The special issue is entitled Beyond the Business Case for Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion, Moving the Field Forward within International Business. Initial one-page proposals are due April 14th, so there is plenty of time to submit. The special issue will be overseen by a team of 5 guest editors who bring with them a diversity of backgrounds and perspectives. They include Raquel Warner from the Mohammed bin Rashid School of Government, United Arab Emirates, also a member of the AIB Diversity and Inclusion Task Force. Teresa Onaji Benson, University of Pretoria, South Africa, also a member of the AIB Diversity and Inclusion Task Force. Fiona Hurt, Auckland University of Technology, New Zealand. And Noemi Sinkovits, University of Glasgow, the UK, a member of Women in AIB and a cpoib overseeing editor. The background of this special issue arises from the fact that we believe international business offers a fertile environment for the advancement of diversity, equity, and inclusion research. This is because of IB's strong focus on foreignness and distance. Increasingly, various forms of distance and diversity are seen today as two sides of the same coin. So far, international business has explored diversity, equity, and inclusion rather selectively in selective areas. This has happened mainly within the scope of gender, cultural diversity, and language. Several other areas of diversity, equity, and inclusion remain unexplored or underexplored, particularly related to age, gender identity, sexual orientation, disability, and indigenous status. Not to mention the intersectionality of all of these identities under what is increasingly becoming acknowledged as superdiversity. So far, a fold-based and a resource-based view of diversity, equity, and inclusion issues has prevailed within international business. Multinational enterprises mostly see diversity, equity, and inclusion either as a challenge to be managed or at best a double-edged sword. All this has motivated research, practice, and policy to demonstrate a strong business case for diversity, equity, and inclusion. However, this has often led to overlooking the fact that diversity, equity, and inclusion are means to an end, not an end in themselves. Diversity, equity, and inclusion is as much a moral imperative as it is sound and socially responsible business practice. However, beyond the ideational and strategic approaches to diversity, equity, and inclusion also lies the performative nature of diversity and inclusion. This is yet to be fully understood and examined, particularly within an international business domain. We believe that it is time for the international business discipline, practice, and policy to step up and take a lead on advancing our understanding of the changing nature, role, and future of diversity, equity, and inclusion in the context of a more socially nuanced and dynamic global environment. The aim of the special issue is to contribute to a growing body of research within management studies and to contextualize diversity, equity, and inclusion research in an IB context. All this with the purpose to advance the field of diversity, equity, and inclusion related research, practice, and/or policy within the international business domain. We want to go beyond looking at the diffusion of diversity, equity, and inclusion practices across environments or the impact of institutional environments on them. We want to move the conversation beyond just building a business case for diversity, equity, and inclusion practices. This special issue seeks to apply a critical management scholarship lens, which is particularly needed in a post-COVID-19 world. We welcome all types of submissions, review articles, theoretical articles, conceptual articles, and of course, empirical papers on a range of diversity, equity, and inclusion topics, which cover the intersection between diversity, equity, and inclusion and international business that can take place across various levels of study, from individuals, groups, organizations, to collectives and societies, as well as places, both physical and virtual. We would also like to draw your attention to a couple of AIB 2020 Miami conference activities. The first of this will be a special pre-conference paper development workshop that will take place right before the AIB annual conference in Miami and will most likely take place in hybrid mode. The other is a special diversity, equity, and inclusion panel that will also be part of the main AIB 2020 annual conference in Miami. Please continue watching this space.